Alright, a very good afternoon, I bid to all of you here who are joining my class for today. So today, for this class, we'll be discussing on the fundamentals of genetic technology. So, for if you want to further discuss this topic, we have to know the basic idea of genetic. All right. So, as an introduction, I would like to share what is the definition of genetics. So, genetics is the study of heredity. If you guys ever heard about heredity, heredity is a biological process where a parent will pass through a certain of their genes on to their children or offsprings. And every child will inherit genes from both of their biological parents, and these genes in turn will be expressing some specific traits. And some of these traits may be physical, for example, the hair color, the hair type, the eye color, and some of the skin color, and etc. On the other hand, some genes may also carry the risk of certain diseases and disorders. They may pass on from parents to their offspring. For example, if you know, thalassemia and so forth. Okay, so all right. So if you talk about heredity, here is the picture, the example, a picture that portray what is heredity is all about. Heredity is the passing of genetic traits from the parents to the offspring. For example, if you look at the picture, you can see the parents where the parents have two different physical characteristics whereby the children inherited some of the physical traits, some of the physical characteristics, such as the black hair, the brown hair color, and the height, and maybe some of the. I mean, the children look similar. Some of the children might look similar to the parents because of the traits that they inherit from the parent self. Okay. All right. So moving on, we'll be discussing about gene. If you talk about genetic, gene will come first in your mind. A gene is the basic physical and functional units of heredity. Genes are made up of DNA, and some genes act as instruction to make molecules that we call proteins. However, many genes do not code for proteins. There are genes that they are not coding for. There are non-coding genes that will not code for proteins. In humans, the genes vary in size from a few hundred DNA bases to more than 2 million bases. And I would like to share there's a project that we call the Human Genome Project that estimated that the humans may have between 20,000 and 25,000 genes, in their body. So the genetic information that lies within the cell nucleus of each living cell in the body is the gene. The gene is also the information that can be considered to be retained on a book, for example, Part of this book with the genetic information comes from the father, while the other part comes from the mother. So you can see from the picture displayed where when you have a cell, you have a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, you'll have a chromosome. And inside the chromosome is actually all the DNA encompassed inside the chromosome. The DNA is contained inside the chromosome, and within the DNA, they have what we call gene that we usually hear about: A, C, T, and G codons. And all these genes can be they can be functional and expressing that they can code for protein, and some are not. So to make it further detailed, so if you see chromosomes are actually made up of DNA, and inside DNA are actually all the genes, the genetic information. So every person has two copies of each gene, and one inherited from each parent. Most genes are the same in all people, but a small number of genes, less than 1% of the total, are slightly different between people. Alleles are forms of the same gene with small differences in their sequence of DNA bases. DNA is a deoxyribonucleic acid. And these small differences contribute to each person's unique physical features. For example, some of the people in, like for example, the Caucasians, they have blue eyes. Some of them, they may have blue eyes. They may have a very fair skin color and the blonde hair or maybe brown hair. So this is the example of how many genes we have in our body. Every part of our body contain different kind of genes. So moving forward, if you already know about gene and you have to dig more deeper what is chromosome. So chromosome is the genes that lie within I mean genes are the one that lie within the chromosome. The chromosome contain genes just like the pages of book. Some chromosomes may carry thousands of important genes, while some may carry only a few. The chromosome and therefore the genes itself are made up of the chemical substance that we call as DNA. In the nucleus of each cell, the DNA molecule is packaged into thread-like structures that we call chromosomes. And each chromosome is made up of DNA, which are tightly coiled many times around proteins called histones that will support its structure.